So I drew a couple of leaves here. We're going to do one in color pencil and one in watercolor. This is on watercolor paper, and it's just sketched out with some charcoal and then covered in India ink, if you're curious about that sort of thing. Now I'm going to show you how I lay out my colors. Light to dark, and these three, this is brown, red, and purple. These are going to be my shadows. And then for my watercolors, I do them the same way, in the order of the color wheel or the rainbow, however you want to think about it. It goes blue, green, yellow, yellow ochre, reds, my browns, and then black. And that palette wasn't big enough for my purple, so I've got purple and India ink here. So coming back to this, I'm going to start out with a color pencil, and if you're right-handed, you always work left to right so that you don't smudge your work. I always start with the lightest color first. This being watercolor paper, it's not going to be completely happy with color pencil, but it will work. That's what I had on hand out here. I'm just lightly throwing it down. These are just some junk pencils I got from Joann's. They're pretty hard to work with, hard to sharpen. And when I color large areas, I go in a circular motion, kind of an ellipse like this, because that helps prevent lines and helps keep everything nice and smooth. Along edges, I will do a straight. I'm not paying a lot of attention to accuracy or anything right now. I'm just getting it down. Alright, there's that. Now, I think about my light source and where I want it to come from. And I want my light to come from here. So if it's something like this where you're just practicing, you can do a big arrow so you don't forget. So thinking about the shape of the leaf, if this is the highest point, the light is going to land there. So you're going to take, and you're going to put a little bit of a shadow here. Because that stem down the center is going to, this is the next step green, by the way, the next step darker. That stem's going to leave a bit of a shadow. And then we're going to turn the underside of the under edge of the leaf around. Again, using the elliptical motion. A little bit of a harder outline there. Now for this direction, if I want the light to land here, I'm going to want to put a shadow over here. Not much of one, just a little bit. Darken my tip because that's going to be the furthest thing from the light. I'm going to add a little bit of darks in here just to help set them off a little bit. My next green. And layering up your colors like this in color pencil and crayon too is just really going to make everything stand out. I'm just going to do really lightly over my highlights just to kind of give some depth to the color. A little bit more down in here. Alright, now I'm going to skip ahead and get my darkest green. I don't know what brand pencils these are. They're like $6 for 36, so they are just nothing special. A little bit of a correction there. Add a little bit of a dark area here. So kind kind of set things off. Darkest point here. Alright, now is when things get fun. I'm going to take my brown. I never, ever, ever use black in the shadow because it just flattens everything out. So I'm going to show you how to do a rich, bold shadow that's just going to make everything richer. You're probably thinking it's looking pretty good right now. Well, we've got some brown here. I'm just going to put that in my shadows. Bearing down in the darkest shadows, lighter where it's lighter. Okay, now I've got purple. And no, I haven't lost my mind. Just wait and see. This is just going to make everything so much richer. I love to use purple and blue for shadows. No, babe. We don't have room for those. Alright, now I'm putting some purple into the shadows. Just making everything lovely and rich. You're not even really going to notice it's even there, because you're just barely laying it in, kind of like tickling the paper with it. A little bit more down here at the tip. You see how much better that looks? I know. Now getting crazy, putting a little red in there. Alright, there you go. That easy. Okay, now we're going to do the watercolor section. My watercolor palette is very limited. I've got this sort of a sap green, a viridian, and then further down I've got burnt sienna and burnt umber. I've got some yellow ochre here too. I may or may not use that, probably not. So I'm just getting the sap green. And again, these aren't anything special. Just whatever I could get, because all my good stuff's in storage. So I've already wet the whole leaf. See, that's really light. Beef this up a little bit. That's better. And you can use watercolors in a coloring book. You really can. I really enjoy it. It does buckle it a little bit, but it doesn't really bother me that much. It's not that much. Not that bad. Okay, now I got that all laid out. I'm going to pick up some of this viridian. And with this, you just sort of tap it in. You can just draw it down to where you want it to be. And just sort of the same shape that I did on the color pencil version. Back a little bit so you can see. But because it's watercolor, there's always a little bit of mayhem inherent with it. So, I mean, you're going to get some areas like that. You can just smooth it out. You can also dry off your brush a bit and come back and pull it up. See, that got a little lighter there. Sort of smooth things out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to come, I'm going to get some of this umber. It's really, really dark. Let's wet my brush. Phoebe. Gonna work that in. Just a little bit of burnt umber. A little bit more green in there. And there you have it. Now if you're using a watercolor pencil, when you get to this stage, you'll just take a wet brush and rub it all over. I don't really like them that much, so I don't have any to show you. When I come in August, if you have a medium that you want me to show you, like a watercolor pencil or those Inktense pencils or something like that, I'll be happy to demonstrate that as well. So happy painting, happy drawing, gals.